This video is for beginners or for teachers who work with beginners. This is not some sort of a simplified workaround or a hack. This is solid, fundamental technique. This is Guitar Teacher Basics. So, changing chords on the guitar is a challenge for every new player, especially if you start trying to play with any kind of a rhythm or timing. We're just not fast enough to get our fingers where they need to go without pausing and adjusting them, and we're just not quick enough to do it in time. Well, I want to flip that and think about it the other way around. Instead of saying that we're not fast enough or quick enough, we're just using too much time. If we say that we need to go faster, well, that's kind of hard to measure. But if we're saying that we're using too much time, we can measure how much time we're using and then slowly reduce that down, which is getting faster. Again, it's the same as getting faster. It's just a little bit more productive way of thinking about it for our practice session. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we measure the amount of time that we're using, and then how do we reduce that down to the point where we're changing chords instantly? We do this by counting. So let's take an easy example. We're gonna take a C chord and a G chord. We're gonna strum each chord 4 times and then change without pausing to the other chord, play it 4 times and then change back and repeat the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you're a beginner, you probably can't do that yet, and you need to work up to it. So remember, I said this is all about counting. Instead of counting all 4 beats and strumming every time you count a beat, like the first example, we're going to count all 4 beats, but only strum on the first beat. As soon as you have played that first beat, you're gonna let go of the chord and start moving your fingers to the new chord while you continue to count 2, 3, 4. If you do this correctly, you'll be ready to play that new chord once you get back to beat 1. Let me show you an example of what this sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so where did that get us? It still doesn't sound great. Well, if you can do the example that I just showed you and do it consistently, that means that you can change chords in 3 beats. That's how much time it takes you to go from one chord to the other chord consistently. So the next step would be to reduce it from 3 beats to change chords down to 2 beats. And the way you would do that is instead of just strumming on count 1 and then changing on 2, 3, and 4, you strum on 1 and 2 and then change on 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next step after that is to strum on 1, 2, and 3, and then only use 4 to change chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last step is to strum on all 4 beats evenly without pausing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This works because you're measuring how much time you're using to change from one chord to another, and then you're chipping away at that time until you can change chords without really using any time. Once you master these basic steps, you can then increase your speed further by counting at a faster tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all there is to the main idea of how to change chords faster on the guitar. But there are a few other things that I want to cover that are going to help you get the most out of everything I've been talking about. First, this only works if you're not pausing in your counting, and this is harder to do than most people think. It's really easy to overload your brain with everything that you're doing and have pauses in your rhythm and not realize it. If you think you might be pausing and you're not sure, you could have somebody listen to you and tell you whether or not you're pausing. You could use an app on your phone and record yourself and listen back, or the best option is use a metronome for your practice. Second, count out loud, not just in your head. I don't really care if you think it's awkward or it makes you feel weird, do it. You're literally going to be using more of your brain than if you're not counting out loud, which helps you learn faster and helps you catch mistakes before they become really ingrained. Finally, if you're having trouble getting your fingers onto the right string and fret consistently, you should practice building chords the same way every time. So take a particular chord like a C chord, build it always, let's say your index finger, then your middle finger, then your ring finger. Do it that way every single time, and your brain will learn the order of those fingers as well as their placement a lot faster so that you won't have to look at your hand to build that chord. If you progress beyond that, you might need to actually do the opposite and build it the way that you're not used to, so that your brain learns how to build it from the first finger and from the ring finger, because eventually you want to be able to put all of your fingers down at the same time. That's the fastest way and the best way to change chords, but you need to take the steps to get there. So build it the same way every time until you know how to make that chord right the first time every time without mistakes, and then to get faster, build it the opposite way so that you can do it either way at will, and then eventually you can just start practicing putting all the fingers down at the same time in unison. Well, that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Luke. This has been Guitar Teacher Basics, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.